Hello and welcome to Locate Guernsey's Property Deep Dive, which is part of our winter virtual event series. My name is Jo Stoddart and I'm the Director of Locate Guernsey. We're a Guernsey government-funded agency whose role is to promote the island as a destination of choice for individual and business relocation. We provide free guidance, information and assistance to individuals and businesses who are considering relocating to the island. Moving to Guernsey is a much simpler process than people sometimes expect, and our panel will talk about our two-tier housing market and explain the difference between the open and the local markets. They'll also discuss what to expect when looking for a home in Guernsey and provide some information about the purchase process. Before we start our discussion, please enjoy this brief piece from our Property Deep Dive partner, law firm Auger. So I'm joined today by Shauna Clapham and advocate Martin Bodans. Shauna is the director of Swaffers Estate Agency in Guernsey and has lived here for most of her life. She's responsible for open market sales at Swaffers and probably knows pretty much every open market property on the island. Martin is a partner at law firm Auger. He joined the firm in 2015 to establish their very successful property team and advises on a wide range of property matters in Guernsey. Martin studied and qualified as an advocate following a career in Guernsey Police Service, so he's a very knowledgeable and experienced Guernseyman with in-depth knowledge of the property market. Thank you both for joining me today. So Shauna, for the benefit of any viewers who may not know much about Guernsey's housing market, can you explain what the difference is between the open market and the local market?
Right, I will try and do this briefly. So basically there's a two-tier housing system and the open market comprises about 1,600 homes. So they're specific identified houses that form part of a register. And those 1,600 homes, which are about, I think, 7% of the total housing market, are available to non-local people. So if you are British, you hold a UK passport or you have the right of abode in the UK, then you can come to Guernsey and live in an open market house. There are procedures and there's criminal checks, but it is really simple. You come, you live in one of those homes, you either rent or you buy, and you are then legally established in Guernsey. The local market makes up the rest of the housing stock. And to occupy local market property, you either have to have been born here, or you have to, or be married to a local, or you have to fulfil an essential role, something that's deemed essential, that you're sort of imported from wherever to supply a skill to the island that the island can't grow themselves, in effect. But the markets work very much in tandem. I know which are open market houses and which aren't, but generally day to day, there's no red dot or there's nothing that really identifies an open market house as different to a local market. So simple is really the key to the system.
Thank you. So Martin, what's the process of buying a property in Guernsey?
The process probably isn't unrecognisable to somebody from any other jurisdiction. You would go to an estate agent such as Swaffers, you would make an offer on a property, and there's no binding contract until something is in writing. And the form of writing that we use are called conditions of sale, and a deposit of 10%, usually 10%, is paid on signing conditions of sale. And the conditions of sale set out the precise terms of the agreement, so what the price is being paid, the date of completion, what's going to go along with the property. It also contains some covenants and warranties by the parties. Importantly, what it does is it gives the opportunity for the purchaser to carry out their research, their due diligence on the property. So the lawyers will, we will carry out the due diligence to check the title, make sure that the vendor is who they say they are and that they're entitled to sell the property. You've also got the opportunity then to get a survey done of the property, make sure your finance is in place, and there is a period of time in which to do that. Usually that's a sort of 3 or 4 week period, I'd imagine. It depends on how complex the title is. Sometimes when it's much simpler, it can be quicker. And at that point, it's the point we call the operative date. So conditional conditions of sale become unconditional at the operative date, and both parties are bound to complete the property on the completion date. If you find something with the property that you don't like, in other words, we say actually you don't own that bit of land that you thought you were going to own, or perhaps a survey is carried out and it really isn't what you expected, then if the conditions of sale are still conditional, you can withdraw from the purchase and get your deposit back. Or renegotiate the price, perhaps, which is sometimes how those things are dealt with.
Okay, that's super. So, Shauna, you've explained how easy it is to relocate to Guernsey, but how easy is it to find your dream home on the island?
Good question, Jo. There are 1,600 homes. That is a small market. That's a small market for when prices start at around £500,000 and it reach tens of millions. So what I generally say to people, whatever price bracket you are looking in, whatever is your dream home, there won't be much choice. It doesn't really, if you're looking for the mansion with land and maybe equestrian facilities and some tennis courts and health suites, there's not many. If you're looking for a cliff-top property with sea views, there aren't many. If you're looking for a townhouse, maybe that's where there's the most choice. There are 2 parishes where the majority of open market houses are. But really, whatever your thing is, it's a tiny, tiny market. So I think looking for a property is always a compromise. And really, it's no different in Guernsey.
Okay, thank you. And so, Martin, for those who might not find their ideal property straight away, is it possible for people to move to the island and maybe develop a property? And how does that work?
Yes, I mean, that is quite possible, and we are seeing a bit of that at the moment. So somebody has perhaps found a property which is in their ideal location, but it's not quite what they expect, what they would like. So there is a range of options available to you. You could possibly apply for planning permission to extend the property, or to the other extreme would be to demolish the property and rebuild something quite spectacular. So there are options available, and actually the planning department will work with you to do that.
Okay. And I think the key on this, if I may, is that there is no land available to build brand new open market properties. So if you are looking to achieve that, your only option is really to buy something that already exists and then go through the planning process to knock it down. And certainly if you're looking to build a passive house or something that is very, very green, then your option really would be find the site, apply for permission to knock down and rebuild. I think that's fair, isn't it?
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Okay. And so how should a prospective relocator start the process of looking for a home?
Well, contact Swaffers would be my answer. Contact an estate agent really is the key. And we will try to lead you through every step of the way. We are employed by the seller to find a buyer, but we're also very mindful that it's a process and there are steps to take. Locate Guernsey are an excellent resource, you know, for the questions that may seem silly, but we are very mindful. I've done this for a very long time. You know, people are moving across a stretch of water, which can be quite daunting, and we've probably been asked all the questions, and we've probably got the answer to most of them, or certainly if we haven't, Locate have. So that would be my and actually come and visit, come and see. A lot of people in the last, or since travel has been less restricted, people have come and actually had a few days or a week on the island before actually contacting either us or you to say, actually, we've been, we like the feel, now we'll start the process. So actually probably a visit is key.
Absolutely. And so people can rent before buying if they want to?
Yes, absolutely. People can rent. And the rental market is small, like the sales market. And it, you know, supply and demand, ebb and flow, different times of the year. Supply can be more challenging. But, yep, most properties are rented unfurnished. So if you are looking to move quickly, you might have to look at moving into a self-catering unit where there is, you know, they're fully furnished and equipped. You've got limited time there, but I know Locate can help with all of that. But yeah, I mean, and actually, all of us certainly sitting here, we will facilitate that. We will. I mean, I think you could tell quite a tale of how many people we managed to relocate in lockdown.
Absolutely.
And you know, I think all went pretty well in the end.
I think it did. So, Martin, what are the costs like for purchasing property in Guernsey?
Again, I think somebody that's used to buying properties, say in England and Wales, won't be surprised by the costs. To give an example of our, we call it document duty over here rather than stamp duty. To give an example of the document duty, if you bought a property at about £1.4 million, then the document duty will be about £50,000. And I've got that in mind in particular because of certain tax incentives there are to in respect of that particular level of document duty. In terms of legal fees, they are sort of dependent on the complexity of the matter. So you'd have to speak to your chosen advocate, lawyer, to agree a fee. Usually a fee is quoted up front and unless any real problems arise during the process, you know, that's the fee that it'll be. But like I say, it's calculated on the complexity of the matter and the length of time that we think it's likely to take.
Okay, fine. Now, if you hold a British or BNO passport or you have right of abode or settled status in the UK, then obviously it means you can move into an open market Part A property. But is there anything that might stop you becoming resident in Guernsey under those circumstances?
Well, everybody in Guernsey must have a permit or certificate of some sort issued by the Population Management Department, and you are entitled to a permit as of right when you buy an open market property. The only caveat to that is that anybody with a serious criminal conviction may be refused such a permit.
Okay, right. And is it possible to buy more than one property in Guernsey?
Yes, it is. You know, actually, that could be an option. Buying properties to rent out, or sometimes people even buy two properties when they know that they've got another one that they want to spend a fair bit of time and energy converting to what they want.
Okay, right. Okay. Now, Shauna, how would you say that Guernsey's property market is performing at the moment?
Trying not to be an over-enthusiastic estate agent, I will use the word healthy. I think we've seen a good level of turnover. I mean, it's a tiny market. We've always got to remember that, you know, our good level of turnover is sort of 80 to 100 sales. So that's on the island throughout any 12-month period. I think it's healthy. I think supply levels are falling, but we've got a great level of interest, and there are. It's it's just great to see how many people are coming to explore the island. And actually, it's good to see the demographic. I mean, I think we're seeing, well, maybe something to do with my age, but we feel that we're seeing younger people who are coming and looking at Guernsey. And I think also family members of people who are already living here are coming over and maybe looking at Guernsey with fresh eyes. So it's all feeling really healthy and actually quite exciting.
Well, that's really good, actually. And have you seen any particular trends in the property market in the past few years?
I think what Martin mentioned, lots of people wanting to invest and maybe redevelop, that's certainly happening. There are people wanting to develop their homes into something more 21st century. I think that's key. I think we were talking about earlier that there are apartments were a rarity in Guernsey 15 years ago. There are more of those, so people are looking at buying apartments. But I think the key is people are looking to improve and upgrade or totally redevelop.
Energy efficient as well.
That green is people want that.
Okay, so perhaps before we finish, you could just tell me briefly about Swaffers, Shauna.
Oh gosh, Swaffers. So we are locally owned by the 5 directors that work in the business, so it's all very hands-on. We're a team of 30. We have one office. It's a busy office, it's a vibrant office. We cover all residential transactions, so local market sales, open market sales, property lettings, both open and local, property management. It's a great fun place to work. I am totally biased. I started there on reception 30 plus years ago, so I feel that I can talk with great confidence and affection that we're a great hard-working team, and I think we pretty much all love what we do.
Which is really important, actually. And Martin, tell me a little bit about Osia in Guernsey.
So Osia rose out of the Channel Islands, but it's a global law firm and has experience in all of the legal disciplines. The property department in particular in Guernsey is staffed by very experienced property experts. One particular clerk has 40 years of conveyancing experience in Guernsey, and it is a strong and well-respected team, I believe.
Excellent, great. Well, thank you, Shauna and Martin, for joining me today and for sharing your insights and knowledge, which is really helpful. So please join us for other webinars in the Winter Virtual Event Series, where we'll be finding out more about healthcare in Guernsey, about running a business, and also about residency and immigration. For further information about anything that we've spoken about today, or for an initial conversation about the ease with which you can relocate to Guernsey, please do contact the Locate Guernsey team at the email address or on the telephone number which are on your screen now. Thank you for listening.